Hello, welcome to Bourbon and a Baby. My name is Jay. Max is not going to be joining us today because Max, even though he is getting older and older and older at a little over 2 years old now, and he's saying a lot of words, and he knows all of his colors, and he's working on his 1, 2, 3s, although he doesn't say 3, he says 8 instead. He is still not yet old enough to drink bourbon. Alright, and today what I have for you is Calumet 15-year-old. So Calumet 15, this is a pretty recent release. It was made out of 19 barrels, that was the batch size. Comes in at 105 proof, 52.5%. It's the single rack black Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey aged for 15 years. And so they're honoring Calumet Farms Triple Crown winner Roll Away on the label. So apparently Roll Away won the Triple Crown in 1941. It was the horse of the year. Enough about that. Let's go ahead and give this a pour. Now this is a somewhat expensive bottle, at least by my standards. It's about 130 bucks retail. So yeah, I mean, modern bourbon prices are going up and up. I feel like that's fairly in line for a 15-year-old bourbon. You know, I don't think it's outrageous. However, I do think it's expensive, and especially if you're like me, you can't necessarily afford to buy a bottle of bourbon for $130. So it'll be interesting to see if I think this would be worth that amount of money. Again, that's all subjective, and that all depends on your station in life and what you're willing to throw down on a bottle of bourbon. But for me, speaking personally, $130 is kind of expensive. But I'll leave that out of it. I'll review it based on its merits, and then we'll discuss that again at the end. So, all right, let's give this a nose. Very fruit forward. Like a melon, like a cantaloupe, if you will. Some people call them cantaloupes, and some people call them muskmelons. I think they're the same thing. I don't know why it has two different names, but I'm getting that, and that's a bad sign for me because I hate cantaloupes. So we're not off to a good start. There's a faint, kind of sweeter, like creamy vanilla note as well. Maybe even a little bit of toffee. And a hint, just a pinch of black pepper. All right, let's get to the palate. Cheers. It's got a nice long finish, which I really enjoy. A real warm Kentucky hug. 105 proof. Definitely, it doesn't. I don't think it drinks under the proof. I don't think it drinks over. I think, you know, it's definitely right there at 105 proof. Kind of hits you. And it kind of went through this kind of ride as far as the flavor wheel goes. I felt like it ended on this creamy, caramely vanilla note that I really enjoyed. But I'm gonna have to take another sip to see what I got at the beginning, because it kind of threw me for a loop, took me by surprise. Yeah, there's that kind of musky, fruity note there. Yeah, I mentioned I don't like cantaloupe, but I think that kind of holds true on the the initial flavor you get. But then there's like you can really get that darker rye spice coming through, like that rye bread coming through. A little bit of oak influence, but especially at 15 years, I don't think much less than you would expect. But yeah, and then that finish is great. The finish is the best thing about this for my palate. I really enjoy that finish. The overall flavors are good. They're interesting. It's not your everyday bourbon, and I think at $130, you wouldn't want it to be your everyday bourbon. But it's cool. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, it's like spice up front, that melon up front, and then like mellow, cool, creamy vanilla on the finish, but this real warming hug going on. This is good. I actually really like this. A little surprised at how much I like it, especially with that melon, that cantaloupe muskmelon note. That normally would really throw me off, and I think it did initially, but as I sipped on it more, I really came to like that about this. Maybe I should give cantaloupe, the real cantaloupe, a second try, but I probably won't, because that smell of it just absolutely kills me. But all right, would I recommend this? Yes, this is good. You should try it. It's really good. Should you go out and spend $130 for this bottle? I don't know your budget, but if spending $130 on a bottle is something that you really have to think about, you probably shouldn't. It's good, but it's not like the most amazing thing I've ever tried. I've had much better bourbons that I like a lot more than this. Doesn't mean that this is bad by any stretch of the imagination. This is still really good. It's just, in my opinion, I think it would be hard for me personally to justify spending $130 on this. Now, that being said, somebody offered me some, I'd gladly drink it. I would buy a pour at a bar and spend a little bit less if I had that FOMO, and I just absolutely felt like I had to try it or had to have it. But yeah, I personally wouldn't buy this bottle, but it's still really good. Should you buy it? If spending $130 on a bottle of bourbon is something that you don't have to think twice about, then buy it up, man. Buy it up and enjoy it, and share it with your friends. Share it with your poor, cheap friends like me. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. Hell, give me a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That really helps us out a lot. You can find Max and myself on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Bourbon and Baby on all those platforms. And last but not least, buy some gear from our shop on Spreadshirt. I'll throw that link in the description below. Have a great day. Cheers.